Joining us now is Cynthia Are with stories trending around the world. Hello, Cynthia.
Good morning, Dr.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tundu.
Good morning, Cynthia.
Good morning, Rufai. Lovely to see you. Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good morning to our viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. It was a Black Sunday for the convoy of the senator representing Anambra South Senatorial District in the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Ubah. The convoy was ambushed by unknown gunmen at Nkwo Enugu Ukwu. Unfortunately, some of the senator's aides were killed, including some police officers. However, the senator was able to escape through his bulletproof car. In the United States, President Joe Biden marked the 21st anniversary of the September 11 attacks, taking part in a somber wreath-laying ceremony at the Pentagon held under a steady rain, and he urged people to take part in protecting American democracy. Americans are remembering 9/11 with tear-choked tributes and pleas to never forget 21 years after the deadliest terror attack on U.S. soil. The UK is trending all over the world for obvious reasons, but one that's dear to our hearts is Kemi Badenoch, a British politician of Nigerian descent. And she may have lost the keenly contested race to replace Boris Johnson as Britain's Prime Minister, but her resilience has earned her another opportunity to relaunch her political career and make Nigerians proud. This time around, the 56th Prime Minister Liz Truss appointed her the new Secretary of State for International Trade and President of the Board of Trade. Beyond the pride of seeing a compatriot getting appointed, this latest feat has elicited pride among Nigerians. Here's the moment when she was welcomed to her office by her staff.
What a fantastic welcome. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm absolutely delighted to be your new Secretary of State. And just seeing so many people here looking really enthusiastic, it looks like I'm going to be very well served. I've heard really fantastic things about so many of you. And our Prime Minister is a former Secretary of State for International Trade. So I know that she has left, as has Anne-Marie, a very, very dynamic department in really good shape for me to take over. And I'm looking forward to working with you all, doing very exciting things. I've just come from Cabinet and the focus was economic growth, and we're going to be really critical in helping to deliver that. I am a free market conservative, very similar to Prime Minister Truss, and I am looking forward to hearing lots of ideas from officials about the things that we can do to help spread the mantra of free trade, free markets, freedom generally across the world. And I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you so much for this fantastic welcome. I feel really, really touched, and I know it's going to be a special time. Thank you.
Tundu, I'm coming to you, ladies first.
Well, congratulations to Kemi Badenoch. I think this is really great to see. I imagine that she'll perform very well in the role. However, I had hoped that she would get a bigger role of Home Secretary. And it's ironic then that she got this role of Trade Secretary, which was occupied by the former Home Secretary, Priti Patel, who then went on to become Home Secretary. So maybe not quite yet for Kemi, but she might follow Priti Patel's footsteps and end up as Home Secretary. The point for me is that it's important to dare and dare greatly. If she had not thrown her hat in the ring, this might not have happened for her. It really boosted her profile to be a part of that race for number 10. She didn't win, but she definitely made her mark, and I suppose that this is a reward for that. And obviously, Suella Braverman, who ended up being Home Secretary, was a complete unknown, even less so than Kemi Badenoch, and she clinched that. So I guess the lesson is to actually be ambitious and try. You never know what you might get. And I wish her all the best in her new role.
Same here. Well, while Kemi is making us proud, a 29-year-old Nigerian man, Chidozie Collins Obasi, is not doing the same. He's been declared wanted in the United States for alleged fraud. The Nigerian is accused of allegedly defrauding the U.S. hospitals of $31 million by offering non-existent COVID-19 ventilators for sale. In a tweet shared about 10,000 times On Twitter by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Philadelphia, it read, Chidozie Collins Obasi of Nigeria is wanted for defrauding New York State of more than $30 million. Anyone with knowledge of his whereabouts should contact their local FBI office or go to the website to report that tip. Dr. Abati.
Well, I mean, people like Collins Obasi, they clearly give Nigeria a very bad name. Nigerians that get involved in crime or, wire fraud. And in his own particular case, he committed a crime, we were told, between 2018 and 2022, scamming people, promising them jobs, work-from-home jobs that did not exist. And then at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, then, of course, he started selling ventilators online and defrauding the state of New York, getting in the process up to about $31 million in collaboration with co-conspirators here in Nigeria and also, we're told, in Canada and other places. So persons like this give us a very bad name. Now the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation have declared him wanted. So clearly in the eyes of the law in the United States, he's a fugitive. His example may be similar, of course, to that of Hushpuppi. But secondly, he draws attention also to the fraud, that enveloped COVID-19 responses, not just in the state of New York, across the world, actually, even also here in Africa, because it was a global health emergency. And to be able to deal with that, many jurisdictions, including here in Nigeria, have to sidestep, establish protocols for audit, for procurement. And what we have seen, in many places is that has resulted in people playing a fast one on the system and corruptly enriching themselves. He will not be the first person that they will be looking for in the state of New York, or some others have already been sentenced, which then draws your attention to how some people behave in the heat of tragedy, while some people are looking for safety and they are trying to address the pandemic. Some people are seeing in it an opportunity for crime. And that is the irony about human relations. We just hope that this Collins Obasi will stop being a fugitive, that he will surrender himself and go through the due process of law. He's 21 years old, we're told, and the crime that he's committed attracts a sentence of 21 years. So if he's found guilty, he will spend the total number of years that he has spent on earth in prison, except, of course, he gets a suspended sentence, which could be a suspension of about 5 years. But if you do the crime, you should be ready to do the time.
Very well said. Well, still on crime stories, the U.S. government has granted the appeal of Nigerian internet fraudster facing trial in the USA, that's Ramon Abbas, popularly known as Hushpuppi, as his jail term was reduced to 11 years. Now, this came as a result of recommendations of prosecutors that showed he cleaned well and related very well with other inmates. On his part, the Delta State Governor's Special Assistant on Media, that's Osai Ove, says this reduction will lead to a surge in cybercrime. Nigerians, however, countered his opinion, sharing the following on Facebook. Now, for Osas Oburex, he says, why are we wicked for this country? We celebrate politicians worse than Hushpuppi, yet you want him to rot in jail. What if he's genuinely changed? And in this one by Lucky Nwachukwu, he says, but pardoning of convicted political criminals will reduce corruption at B. Is it not better for Hushpuppi to hack our money than to watch snakes swallow it? We have more than 1,000 political leaders that Hushpuppi is better than. Rufai, your thoughts, where do you stand?
The thing is, he cooperated well. Mm-hmm. In fact, he revealed so much. He sang very well. And that's what led to clamping down other people in the group. So if he had done that and he had been, fair in his treatment of inmates and he had been on best behavior, it's only the right in the legal system. They would reduce it. But it doesn't defeat the fact that Hushpuppi is doing 11 years there, and he will still do the time for the crime. I mean, people that have committed more, heinous crimes, They are seeking parole now. I think the other day I heard Oscar Pistorius is now seeking parole.
The nerve of him.
Yeah,
Right.
So, but I think it's just the way the law works. He cooperated, he's been of good conduct and all of that, but he did sing. But this should also be a deterrent to all of those out there that go out there and think internet fraud is the way to go. Please don't do it. It is bad. It will destroy you in the end. And also, I'll call on the authorities, create jobs, creating an enabling environment for young people. Because most of our states now have now been inundated by these so-called Yahoo boys. And it's very sad what we've become. In fact, I hear Yahoo boys, their mothers now have an association called the Yahoo Boys Mothers Association, where they pray for their children to continue to fraudulently collect money from other people. Most hotels now, you go there, problems of Yahoo boys. In fact, some estates now in VI would ask you what you do for a living before they accept you, because they're tired of Yahoo boy problems. They become a societal menace. And you know, a lot of them also drift into cultism, and they fund cultism activities, street cults and things like that. We're fast losing our society, and it's because we don't have a government that creates opportunity for the young people, and the cascading effect is what is happening. Somebody was talking to me yesterday about Sapele and Warri, and this place are very dear to me, Warri especially. Warri used to be the hub of oil servicing firms and many companies before. It was said that if you lost your job in the 80s in Warri, you could see a better paying job in the next 2-3 days. But it's no longer the case. And somebody was telling me how Yahoo boys have taken over parts of Warri, no economic activity again. Somebody was telling me about Sapele, how companies like AT&T are no longer there, African Timber, Plywood and all of that no longer there, Eternal no longer there. So the more companies are leaving and you're not having job for young people, advanced free fraud is taking over. So government must do something as regards empowering the young people and getting them jobs. But
Very
please,
well
that is not no excuse. Stay away from crime, because if you do the crime, you will do the time. I just wanted to speak about Kemi Badenoch. Congrats to her. And she pretty much reminds me of the Tottenham motto, very dear to my heart, that says to dare is to do is to dare. And which is very important that we should learn from. But it doesn't stop the fact that she's right wing.
Thank you so much, Rufai. Well, indigenous construction firms have sounded the alarm regarding the increase in incidents of building collapses, not just in Lagos State, but across the nation. Firms are blaming this upsurge on the activities of quacks who compromise standards, as well as greed on the part of some property owners. They also warn that more incidents of building collapse may likely be experienced if nothing is done to halt that trend. Now, Dr. Bati, I was actually speaking with the person who tweeted about this situation. You know what happened with the Lekki building collapse, I would say maybe a week ago. And he's looking to... I'm sorry?
The Oniro, it happened in Oniro.
Yeah.
So basically, he predicted that collapse, and he would like to, I think he told me about starting a petition to mandate the Lagos State government to check buildings very quickly, do a mass inspection, because he's afraid that with the rainy season having set in, we might see more of these. And now we're seeing this news as well. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are regarding this, substandard materials, and what you think the authorities should be doing quickly so that we have, the preventative measures in place.
Okay, according to one report, in the last 2 years alone in Lagos State, not to talk of other parts of the country, 84 persons have died as a result of building collapse. About 18 buildings came tumbling down. In many of these cases, people died. The most dramatic one being the collapse in November 2021 of a multi-story building on Gerrard Road, which led to the death of 46 persons. This year alone, there have been close to about 9 cases of buildings collapse, so one after the other. And you'll find that many of the affected buildings are buildings under construction. So it's failure of regulation, failure of supervision. The Council of Registered Engineers of Nigeria, COREN, always says, well, it's because these building developers, many of whom are out there, cut corners. And that if they use engineers, proper engineers, not Baba Kamaru or Baba Suli, all these artisanal builders, but that because they lower standards, you have these buildings coming down. Then beyond that, of course, failure of regulation. There is a building code. There are regulations. Maybe the Ministry of Physical Planning is not doing what it is supposed to do. In this latest instance in Lagos State, for the first time, we had a mini commissioner of physical planning resigning, or maybe he was pushed. Another person has been appointed. The government of the state has promised to pay more attention to building and construction regulations. We hope they will do so. And as it is for Lagos State, so it is for other parts of the country. We need to respect the building code, which is something that is very sacred because it's also about safety. Okay? Well, we don't have more time.
Thank
you very much, Cynthia.